Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. What the fuck is this? Am I VGNM? What the fuck? I dropped that persona fucking ages ago. Sorry. Let me do that again. Fucking...
Hey!
Actually, no. Fuck it. We've started. This is Two Large Ones. Welcome.
Hello.
I'm Vince, and this is Craig.
Hi, I'm
We're
Craig.
back talking more large ones. It's going to be a shorter one today for reasons that we will explain
Yes, we
at the end
will.
of the video. However, that doesn't make today's sponsor any less important. We will get to that in a hot minute. Craig,
Hello. How's it going?
what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to talk about design and kind of industry surrounding that, and a little bit of charity industry thrown in as well, charity sector sort of bits.
And why are we talking about that?
Because we're talking some large ones, mate. And last week we talked a lot of large ones about the gaming industry, which is your kind of field, your expertise, your industry.
Profession. Yeah.
And we got quite in depth with that, didn't we? We spoke quite a lot about different bits and pieces. We were trying to do it in half an hour, but clearly there was a lot to cover.
A lot to be said. A lot of low points, high points, drama, and just it was all round a crazy time. Crazy time.
Wild times.
Wow times. So I guess tell us about your profession. Tell us what you do, and tell us your background.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name's Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Nice. That's a good callback.
Comedy comes in threes. Wait till next episode.
I was about to go into small talk of business interviews. Like, oh, did you travel far to get here? Oh, it was fine, really.
Oh God, yeah.
Even if they had to take a flight or something, like, oh yeah, it was all right.
Oh, you haven't been waiting long, have you?
Oh no, not at all. Only a couple of hours, 2.5 hours.
Well, the thing is that the interview wasn't scheduled till in an hour and a half's time, so you were here quite early.
Well, the first proper job interview I went to for a design role, they posted the wrong address on the job advertisement. I said that weird. I'll roll with it.
Right.
So it was like a baking hot day, and the recruiter was like, "No, make sure you." She was really lovely. She was like 60-year-old-ish woman. She was like, "Oh, make sure you wear a nice suit and tie, and get there nice and early." And I was like, "Yeah, of course, yeah, okay." And I've had this thing in my mind since I kind of chose this as a career way back when. I will come on to the origins of that. That if any job wants me to wear a suit and tie as a designer, as a creative, I don't think I'm going to, last long in the job.
Yep.
And I think that goes for most creative roles anyway.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Especially in roles where it doesn't matter what. Obviously you want to have like a minimum level of decorum, right? But it doesn't matter if you're in a suit or tie if you're never seeing customers or business partners, in all honesty.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I don't know, it's just, it's supposed to be uniform. And by definition, the word uniform is not very creative. So it's always just rubbed me up the wrong way, really. So I had to wear a suit and tie. So I did it anyway. I was like, look, the recruiter literally said wear a suit and tie. And it's my first ever job interview. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So hop on a train, about an hour and a half later, walk up this giant hill in the baking sun. I've actually got a briefcase with me. I borrowed a briefcase. I look like I look like the In-Betweeners, right?
What was in the briefcase?
My portfolio and stuff.
Oh, okay. You actually did have stuff in the briefcase.
Yeah,
it wasn't just a prop. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, is it just a prop, and you're just genuinely like, "Oh, look at my briefcase. You can tell I'm official."
Yeah. I'm a serious guy. Suit, tie, briefcase.
You don't want to know all the sorts of documents I got in this bad boy.
Yeah, no questions needed. They're just open the door. They're like, "You, Craig?" Yeah. Ooh. All right. It's yours.
The briefcase sold it.
Yeah. Just loads of beans in the suitcase. Suitcase, fucking briefcase.
Beans case.
Wheeling in my suitcase full of beans.
You just undo it and you just start eating, spooning it out in the interview.
That is a power move.
Like staring at them in the eyes, and then like after your 5th spoon, you're like, "Do you want some?"
Yeah, they're like, "Did you bring your portfolio with you?" You're like, "Yep," and you just like bring up the briefcase, slam it on the table, open it, and it's just full of beans. Oh mate, I'd be like, okay, this guy.
You'd be like, he's got potential. Yeah, I like it.
So I knock on the door of this place, and by the way, you might be the same, but anytime I get in like a full suit, I sweat like a bastard. It's uncontrollably, it's gonna happen every time. And
so I'm not like that. I sweat more if it's warm, but I don't. I don't just sweat because I'm in a suit now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe it's just me, how I'm wired.
I mean, you need to remember I wore a suit for 3 or 4 years.
This is true. Yeah. Oh, you're totally immune to it then.
Yeah.
So, I think it was mostly because I had to walk up this big hill. But yeah, I knocked on the door, no answer. Knocked again, no answer. I checked my email on my phone and was like, "Is this the right address? It's like someone's house." And it was the right address, so I was like, "Okay, this is really confusing." So I rang up the recruiter, and actually they didn't answer either. And I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to ring up the company." So I rang up the company, and they answered, and I was like, "Hey, I'm due for a job interview in about 10 minutes. But I think I'm at the wrong address. I've been sent this address by the recruiter." And just the reaction on the phone, they were just like, "Oh God." They knew it was the recruiter's fault, which was fine.
Yeah.
That's all I really wanted to get across.
Yeah.
And they said, "Look, this is our actual address." And I was like, "Oh, that's really annoying because I know exactly where that is, and that wouldn't have been an issue." And they said, "Just just arrive when you can." So that's what I did. I kind of just what did I do? I took off my blazer and stuff, I think, and I was like, I need to air out.
Nice.
Walked back to the station, jumped on the train, went back like half an hour into the town, and then put all my stuff back on, and then had the interview, and it went really well. Obviously, I got the job eventually, but after the interview, I came out and there was a guy sat in the office who was on the next year up on my uni course.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh no way! I didn't know you worked here." And he was like, "No, I don't. I'm here for the job interview." And I was like, "Okay, maybe top 5 awkward moments in my entire life." because I was so late, quote unquote, to the interview. The other guy turned up.
The other guy,
and the other guy was someone I knew for like 2 years.
Nice, dude.
It wasn't fair.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that's a little story to get us going, I think. Yeah, design.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm quite a anomaly, I think, with career paths.
An anomaly.
Anomaly. I knew what I wanted to do in year 9 or 10. And I knew how to like get there. You know what degrees I needed, what qualifications I needed.
Yeah, the path that you needed to take in order to actually reach your destination.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I did basically, and I followed it all the way through to basically being a designer. But it's a lot of people don't have that clarity, and I was definitely fortunate. But that's pretty much it. I nearly had a hiccup when I went to college and met you.
Fucking okay. Sorry, mate. Didn't mean to fuck that shit up for you, but I guess if that's how you see me in your life, Jesus Christ.
It's all evened out now. Don't worry about it. I've forgiven you.
Oh my god! What the? Go on. No, go on. Let's hear it.
So I actually didn't.
What did I do? What?
I didn't apply initially for the same course as you. I applied for the music production one,
Okay.
and they said, "Oh, no, we're actually full." And I was gutted because I really wanted to do the music course.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know what it was. I'd done my GCSEs and stuff, and I still knew I wanted to do design, but when I was there and I was talking to all the college tutors and stuff, I was like, "Oh, the music one just sounds amazing." And you have this pipe dream of being a musician, like a successful musician.
Yeah.
And it just really appealed to me, so I was like, "Cool, all right, I'm gonna do that." And then they were like, "Nope, no more spaces, so you have to pick another course." So I was like, "Cool." So I ended up, that was my second option. The creative digital media.
Yep.
And literally the second I got back in my house, there was a phone call, and it was Nescott, and they were like, "Yo, that thing's become available, like a space on the course if you want it." And it took me the time of the drive back, basically, to where I was like, "Nah, I'm cool. I'll stick with what I've put myself down for."
Yeah.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, the whole drive home, I was just kind of gutted, and I had a chat with my dad, and he was just like, "Well, look, if I'll be honest, the career prospects are much greater with digital media than they are with music, and the stuff you're going to learn on that course is going to be much more beneficial in the long run."
Yeah.
And he basically just kind of, he didn't do the convincing, but he just said, like, "Here's my point of view."
He just sort of laid out the facts in a different light.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And then
Yeah.
that was pretty much it. I just made up my own mind, and then did that, and then from there went to uni to do graphic design.
I just want to sort of sweep in quickly and just say that's quite funny because the course that I was on with you wasn't actually my first choice either. that was actually my second. That was actually my second choice as well.
Really?
Because my first choice wasn't available when I went there.
Perfect.
My first choice was the game design course, but I wanted to go in at level 2. I didn't want level 1.
Yeah.
And when I went there, they were like, "We've only got level 1." For anyone listening, level 1 is basically easy mode. Level 2 is, okay, you're actually learning stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, I don't want to go in on easy mode." And they were like, "You have a choice. You can either go in level 1 or you can do creative digital media level 2, which will give you all of these sort of skill sets." And I was like, "Oh, I'll just do creative digital media level 2. That's fine."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do also remember being asked why I even chose Nescott, which made me laugh because it was our tutor. He he was the one who interviewed me, and he looked at my scores, and he was like, "So I've got to say, you've got really good scores here, and you've got really good predicted scores. Why have you picked Nescott when you could go somewhere better?" And I just remember laughing and be like, "Why not?" Right? Like I don't really want to go anywhere else. And I just like the idea of not having to do tests as well, which I think is fine. So
yeah, that for me. Especially, like, I think any creative would agree, but constant assessment is much better than like a sit-down exam type of scenario.
Absolutely. In all honesty, I think tests are outdated as a method of measuring intelligence.
Oh,
anyway.
for sure. But I'll tell you what is quite cool. What you can do as like a substitute for exams is set yourself a challenge within a day or a week or whatever. And I do that for photography, If there's like a day challenge I can set myself. I'm going to go out and take photos, but they have to have these parameters in mind. That for me is like an exam because, it's like a really short period of time where you can put all your skills to the test as opposed to... if you didn't set yourself that challenge, you'd just kind of be floating about and like taking photos. It might end up somewhere, it might not, but you don't really have like clear instructions. So I quite like that.
But yeah, so that I find that quite funny though that we both had that as our second choice and both wound up in the same
Yeah.
same boat. That's quite funny.
That's great. So, yeah, from there I went to uni and did graphic design. There's not really much about uni story. I
Yep.
learned most of what I know there. Yeah, I guess that would be the key thing to pick out is my brother Kieran actually convinced me to go to uni. And it's something I've always wanted to make like a YouTube video on, just called like how to get a job after uni or how to decide to go to uni. There's probably ones that exist,
Mhm.
but just to
Yeah.
share my kind of experience with it. And he basically said, look, when are you going to start uni? When would you start your course? And I was like, I think September. He was like, cool. Do you think, and be honest with yourself, that you could get a job in that industry that you want to go for by the time the course would have started?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah. Like, I don't think I know enough. And he was like, well, there's your answer, innit? You don't know enough, so you need to get taught. I was like, oh, damn. So, yeah, ended up going to uni because of that. Pretty much.
Fairly wise.
Yeah. And then the trick to getting a job after uni is don't wait for your grade. I didn't. Because before you finish, you get hit with the hard reality of like, come June time, this is all over, and all 30 of us on the course are going to be applying for the same jobs because we all live locally.
Yes.
So I started applying for jobs in December. So
whereas everyone else started much later.
Everyone else started basically June, like when we finished. No one really chose to start literally until we'd been sat down like, cool, so this is our last week.
Yep.
Because then they're like, cool, this is our last week, I should get on this now. Whereas I was like, no one wants to hire someone fresh out of uni for much money.
Yeah.
So I need to get on that as soon as I can. And I must have applied for about 150 jobs.
Jesus.
Like, probably. I just started.
A lot.
Yeah, I just started applying for things that I wasn't reading. I didn't care because it was like, it was just like a roulette wheel, really.
Yeah.
They're doing the work. That's how I felt. Like, if I apply for every job, then the ones I'm suitable for are going to come back to me, and the ones that aren't suitable, they'll look at my CV and go, "Nope, I don't know why he's applied for this because he."
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't his thing. So I was like, they can do all the hard work for me. I'll just apply for everything. So I did, and I got, I think, in total, 2 job interviews. 2.
Okay.
The one I spoke about earlier, and then the second one, which was a print company up in London, which sounded like the worst job out of the 2. It was basically. It was basically.
Go on. Throw some shade. Let's hear it.
All right. No. So it was basically the same pay. But in central London.
Right.
Whereas the other one was not in central London. That was quite close to home.
Yep.
So, yeah, same pay. It was still quite low, and it was also doing an artworking role, which essentially there's a few different job titles in the creative world, like the graphic design world. Artworker just means that you are ensuring all the artwork is kind of set up properly. There's different levels within that. You might actually get to do some setting up and some designing and some creative work, but this specific role was not that. This was, we have a designer, they're going to do stuff, they send it to you, you check it's okay, and then you hit print.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm basically a printer. And just didn't sound very creative to me. So
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I wasn't really that interested.
So you got the position, and then they all struggled, I assume.
What do you? Sorry, what do you mean?
So I mean, you got the position with that company that you went to the wrong place for,
Yes.
and then everyone else in your course then struggled to get employment as soon as they left uni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a job I started my job 2 weeks after finishing the course.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that just by saying, here's my predicted grade. That's what
Yeah.
I'm predicted. But in truth, no one cares about grades. I'm sure you know that as well.
Yeah, 100%.
No one cares. If you bring a portfolio, it's all about your portfolio. Here's what I can do, and then
Mhm.
it's all about backing it up. And there's usually some kind of creative task where they just say, "We'll prove that you can do, what you say you can
literally
do."
do it in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's easy to fake a portfolio. It's easy to
Yes.
really ramp up your CV and stuff. But
Just go on Fiverr, get someone to do it for you.
yeah, like when you get sat down with a creative task and stuff, that's
Yeah.
when it really comes to it. So, yeah. So I got that job. Was there for 2.5 years. That was in the property industry. So it slowly but surely sucked the life out of me.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was like a great first job. The company was 6 people in total, including me.
Yep.
And the pay was low and stuff, but the people were amazing, for the most part. And yeah, it was cool little first job.
Nice.
And then I left just because, one, I was kind of done with that industry.
Yep.
And the other thing was just, there was nowhere for me to go, basically. I was the only designer. There was never going to get another designer. And they just put this situation in place where you just couldn't ask for more money.
And so you ended it sort of amicably.
Yeah, I'd say so. I could have not done that quite easily, but
Yeah. You never want to end. Anytime you leave somewhere, don't burn your bridges. That's super important. It's always good to end things amicably, end things on a sensible level. And actually, this is really good transition for our sponsor today.
Excellent.
Our sponsor today is Entropy. So for anyone at home listening, Entropy, of course, the ever marching end of everything.
Yeah.
So just big shout out to the end of everything. I'm super excited for the work that you're doing, the upcoming work that's coming soon.
If you're having a gradual decline into disorder,
Yep.
that's there for you.
Yeah, they've got some real stars working there. And I can't wait to see how things end up over there. So big shout out to Entropy for sponsoring. We'll give them another shout out at the end of the episode.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So effectively, I left that job, went to another job, of course. That was in the charity sector, which was a completely different world.
Yes, I imagine it would be.
Yeah.
You go from one sector where it's about stealing. Oh, not stealing. Let me rewind that. Just coercing as much money out of people as possible for your own personal profit, to coercing as much money out of people as you can for other people's profit. You see? Except it's much nicer to do it for charity, right?
Yeah, I went from working for the Sheriff of Nottingham for Robin Hood, basically.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. What a fantastic way to describe it. Yes. You were the designer for both.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very much like, I kind of knew that was my field, after working in there for like a few months and stuff.
Yep.
I don't know, it was just like psychologically it felt like I was designing stuff that was fulfilling a purpose as opposed to just lining people's pockets. And that's pretty much it. That was a bumpy ride, I gotta say, that job.
So I've got some questions actually. If you want to answer them, that'd be fantastic.
Sure.
So okay, tell me so this is something that I've had a little bit of experience with doing creative stuff for people, but unfortunately it is also something that I've experienced from the other end, requesting stuff from creative people.
Oh,
um what are the emotions or the things that go through your mind, and also what are some pro tips that you would give to people who are working with creatives when working on a project that requires a little bit of collaboration, a little bit of back and forth, and things to be changed. So say for instance you're working on a logo, right? You're designing a company a logo, um and you wind up needing a little bit of back and forth to say, okay, we kind of like the way that this is, but could you change this, that sort of stuff, or
yeah.
or not just, I mean just anything sort of in that sort of design space. So at Boss, obviously that was something I had to do a lot.
Mm.
So both as a creative and requesting the art department to do that sort of stuff. So what sort of tips would you give people, and yeah, just talk us through the emotions of, like, bad experiences, good experiences, and some pro tips for people who, if they in the future wind up finding themselves in the position of either creator or requester
All
sort
right.
of thing, as to make the thing smooth like butter.
Smooth.
Smooth like
So,
butter.
that's one of like the big pitfalls actually of that second job. So the first charity job I joined was there wasn't a process for requesting stuff really.
Okay.
And that's where it was kind of tricky. Like
Yeah.
emotion wise, I guess like every time I'm asked to do something, I kind of weigh up in my mind how one, if I'm capable, that's like the first thing.
Yep.
Um, is what is being asked within my capabilities?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first yes or no.
Yeah.
Um, the second kind of yes or no is if I can do it, can I do it within the time frame that they're giving me?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like a yes or no. And then everything from there is just clarity on like making things easier to proceed with. So, say you wanted a logo, um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'd say, cool, I can do that. I've done that before. I'm comfortable with that. I need it within 2 weeks. Okay, that's also
Yes.
fine. I can do that. But now you need to kind of assert, well, what kind of look and feel do you want to go for? What, give me some examples of logos that you've seen that you like. Um, maybe more importantly, give me examples that you have seen that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that sort of thing, and it is just clarity. It's like, if you're requesting something from me, you need to know when I'm going to be working on that, and if I make any progress on it, which is substantial. So it has to be a collaboration, really.
Yeah.
I can't say. Okay, the way I do it for logos specifically is I'll come up with X amount of design options.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have explained this to you like during the process and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll come up with X amount of options, and then you get to pick between them, and you can pick out things you like and dislike about each, or you like where this one's going, and but you don't really like how it's blue or whatever it is. And then we do another round of exactly the same thing. So I'll come up with X amount of versions, narrowing in on what we've just talked about. Um,
Mm.
and that can go on until it gets completed, really. But I think that's the principle of any design job. It's a clear brief.
So, okay, as a counter question, then, in that regard, so obviously clarity, information, very very important, and I 100% agree with you as well. A question that I actually found myself asking myself recently, which actually would be great to pose to you in sort of the same vein, is there a thing such as, like, information overload or too much information when it comes to a brief? Now, obviously having conflicting information, that's really bad, that's going to suck, right? But I mean, like, for instance, the difference between, say, you know, a 1-page brief to a 30-page brief, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like, is working with a 30-page brief as heinous as working to a 2-sentence brief, or like in which scenario would you prefer, that sort of thing?
I'd just say if you as a person know what you're briefing, you won't need 30 pages. It should be as clear in 2 sentences as it is over those 30 pages. That's pretty much what I'd say. You know, if you're getting your idea across to a designer,
Yeah,
you need to know exactly what you want.
what the idea is.
Well, at least what the idea is. You know, it can be left up to interpretation as to how it comes out and stuff. But yeah, as long as you know what you want, it should be quite an easy conversation.
Nice.
Which is not what I've had previously with can you design me a leaflet which has to be this but also be this, but also if we could have this on it. Well, it can't be all 3 of those things because they're all very conflicting call to
Yes.
actions. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh god. Wait, so was that more about the messaging, like, conflicting there? Because that's spectacular if that's the case.
Well, where I work at the moment,
Mhm.
yeah, we get that quite often. So we'll get someone say,
Nice.
"Can we have a message about volunteering?"
Mhm.
And then we also need a message about anyone who's in distress. And you're like, "Well, no, hang on, those are 2 completely different things."
Yeah.
If you as a person are distressed and you see like any piece of information saying, "Are you distressed?" question mark, but also, "Have you considered volunteering?" That's the wrong audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes, absolutely. That actually, you know what? That's actually spooky that you're picking up on it, though, because that feels like something that should be picked up by, like the messaging / marketing department or whoever is in charge of that.
Yeah.
That's I will say though, like, props for catching that and actually like engaging with what you're creating enough to be like, hang on a second, is this the correct path, sort of,
Yeah.
right? Because I do know that there are a lot of designers or whatever out there that would just do exactly as told, and then, you know, it would come out sort of a little bit wishy-washy because of it.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's I think it comes down to confidence. I think
Yeah.
in my experience, most designers are quite introverted and they're quite lenient. I've definitely
Yes.
been there where, you know, someone's. In fact, the first job I was in, that property one, I made a design suggestion because I thought something would sit better over a double-page spread of an A4, for example.
Yeah.
And the comment I got back was, "No, I'm not asking for your opinion. I'm telling you how it needs to be done."
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Oof.
And like we were saying last week, you know, you don't employ people to undermine them, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like I literally do this for a job, and I'm really passionate about it. You should maybe just pay attention to what I'm saying, and that goes
See,
for every role ever.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of response would have gotten me in trouble because I wouldn't have been able to bite my tongue fast enough.
Yeah.
Because my response would have been along the lines of, "Oh, that's fair enough. I'll do it the way that you want, but you're wrong." And then I would have done it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and that would have gotten me in trouble 100%.
But like,
listen, I don't. Oh, sorry. You were going to say something. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to just round up my kind of career, I guess. So I started professionally working within design 2014. So I've now been doing it for 6 years, which is kind of spooky, but you know, it's what I wanted to do. I'm still really enjoying it. I now work for Samaritans, helping their call centers produce materials, design work, and stuff. And I've been there for about nearly 2 years, coming up to 2 years. So.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I've only had 3 jobs, but I think with my industry, usually it's you do 2 years and you move on.
Yeah.
not as a general rule, but just as it seems very, very common for designers to do that.
Well, typically you have to put 2 years into a place, and then you can ask for a pay rise. And then
That's
if you
true.
don't get it, basically, if you don't get it, then you're supposed to move on and then get that pay rise at another place.
Yeah.
That's what I'm aware of, and that rule seems to apply for most industries, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
From what I've seen. But I don't mean to cut you off short or anything.
No, well, I was done.
But we're at the 37-minute-and-a-half mark.
Oh,
And we need to
clarify.
have this wrapped up a little bit early, unfortunately. So we're going to talk about this, but actually, I feel like there was a lot that we didn't talk about with your industry. So maybe we'll continue along these sort of lines next week, because there's a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about off of the back of what we talked about today. Which I think could be really cool. Get some more large ones in there. But for those 3 of you listening in, essentially, the SoundCloud that we're currently using will only allow us to upload up to 3 hours worth of content without paying monthly. Now,
unacceptable.
We're not looking to pay monthly, in all honesty. So we've made the executive...
Which is why we're asking you to do it for us.
For just £10 a month, you can help support us. No, we're not asking that. We don't want that. I mean, shit, if it gets to that point, it gets to that point, whatever, right? But I think we need more than 3 listeners to justify it. But that's not to say we don't love each and every one of you. What we're going to do is we're going to start uploading these to YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have an upload limit. We're going to upload them to there, and then you can just listen to them from there. So in the description of this on SoundCloud, there is a link to 2 large ones. Please go and subscribe to it right now. You'll be able to get your large ones every week from the 2 of us. And then if there is a future in which, we may make a comeback to SoundCloud, it is what it is. But for the moment, we're moving to YouTube. Although if you have any suggestions for where we should be, that is also free and gives us unlimited uploads, then give us those ideas. Tell us in the comments section, either on this SoundCloud or on the YouTube, because this will be the first upload on YouTube as well. Episode 3 will be the first one, except actually I think we should upload all 3. So this will be the third one, but it will be the first one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So with the end in mind of the SoundCloud, I just want to give another big shout out to Entropy.
Yeah, Entropy.
Again,
big help this week.
SoundCloud really bringing Entropy to the forefront here. Ending of all things. Entropy really is just what we personally live for. It's we're all marching towards it. And do you have anything to add, Craig?
No, I just I'd back you up on that. I think if you don't expect it, it will take you. That's Entropy.
Exactly. Yes. And with that segment ended, that is the entirety of this week's 2 large ones. So thank you for listening in. It's been our pleasure to just really have a conversation with each other.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, that's all we did, really. And that's all we actually... In fact, that is all any podcast does, so I don't know why the fuck I'm, shaming that.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye.
Goodbye.